Hey Lorcana fans. Well, the day finally arrived. We got our first news about competitive play from Ravensburger for 2024. But how important is this announcement for the world of Lorcana, and does competitive play even matter? Let's talk about it. So successful TCGs have to do something very tricky. They have to balance between competitive and casual formats and events. For many people, the thrill of TCGs is competition. It's about deck building and seeing how good you are compared to other people. They might say, what fun is a game if there's nothing at stake? On the other end of the spectrum, you have your casual players who just enjoy playing the game. But for them, it's not about winning tournaments or cash prizes, it's about the fun of playing the game, and if they win, great, and if they don't, that's okay. It's all about the time spent with friends. The other important thing about casual play is it offers a gateway to new fans and new players. If the only thing to do in a TCG is to go play in hyper-competitive events, well, there's a lot of people who just won't play. Now, a lot of players might not fall on one extreme or another. They might enjoy both competition and casual play. They might enjoy playing in casual leagues on Wednesday night, and then on Saturdays going and playing in a 1K tournament to test their mettle. And so the challenge for a card game is, how do you create an environment where there's space for casual play to welcome people into the game, but then also offer a ramp to hyper-competitive events so people can test their mettle and play the game at the highest level? And this is a challenge that Ravensburger's had to deal with. Well, hold on, I hear you say. Why are you talking about casual and competitive play as if they're in competition? And the answer is, they're not really in competition, but they sort of are, and it's because of finite time and finite resources. Game stores and other venues only have so much time, space, and resources to devote to play of a particular game. And so, for example, if Monday night is Lorcana night, they can choose to either use that as a competitive time or a casual time. The same is true of conventions. And the same is true for players. You know, I only have so much time of my life to devote to playing Lorcana or any TCG, and so I have to choose what to do with that time. So for example, if you're a player playing Magic the Gathering, you only have so much time and money to devote to that particular hobby. Do you want to spend that time playing Commander, a super casual format, or do you want to spend that time in a hyper-competitive environment? The choice is yours, but you only have so much time to spend. And with very few cards to go around in 2023 and the limited time the game's been out, Ravensburger chose to devote that time to casual play. When they gave out league kits to stores, they said they encouraged rewarding promos and pins based on participation. Now, of course they did give stores the leeway to cater to their audience. If their store tended to be hyper-competitive, Ravensburger said that's okay, you can hold tournaments and give promos away that way. But what they did say is they really wanted to encourage stores to welcome people in, host casual events where people can learn to play, and not turn off families and kids and people who have never stepped into an LGS for the first time. And so to this point, league play really filled that casual end of the spectrum. Through the first few sets, that's all there really was, support for casual play. Now, we did have competitive events with companies like PPG and other independent game stores stepping up to fill the void, so that competitive players from other TCGs could come in and see how they did against the best of the best. But these weren't official Ravensburger sanctioned events. And to some, that left them feeling like there was a bit of a void. And it left a void for a few reasons. First, it says something when a game company steps up and sponsors huge tournaments and huge events. It's something about their support for the game and their support for competitive players. Second, there's something very different about winning an unofficial tournament and winning an official sanctioned event. Of course, the prize support is usually different, with official promo cards from a game company or playmats or some super exclusive swag that you can show off as a trophy. But there's also some bragging rights saying that you won an official tournament and not some unsanctioned event. The official events tend to draw the best of the best. It's the place to go for those who want to prove themselves. While the unofficial events can fill that role, it's just not the same. And so what did Ravensburger announce today, and does that fill the competitive gap? Through a couple different vehicles, Ravensburger announced two big things today. The first is the competitive circuit. Now, we don't have all the details just yet, but we do know at the very least that in 2024 there will be regionals in North America and Europe, followed by national tournaments. And then in 2025, if you do well in this circuit, you can qualify for a world tournament, which is pretty cool. Now, what does this mean? This means that if you're a competitive Lorcana player, you can compete in a series of tournaments to make your way all the way up to the pinnacle, world champion. We will actually know in 2025 who the world champion Lorcana player is, and that's pretty cool. And these big tournaments are going to fill a very important role for Lorcana. It shows that Ravensburger and perhaps Disney are throwing their full weight behind this game. The other thing that national and world championships have always done is give people entertainment in the same way that pro sports is entertainment for sports fans. Even many casual players enjoy following people's journeys and seeing who rises to the top. You know, in the near future, there's going to be a whole batch of pro Lorcana celebrities who have risen to the top of regional events, national events, and then world events. And we're going to enjoy seeing how those players progress from year to year. And who knows, you could be one of them. So there's a second announcement today, which I think is just as important. One thing we have to remember about this official circuit is that many people who are really, really good players just won't be able to compete in those events because whether it's due to time, money, or distance, they just can't. And so what Ravensburger's done is find a way to kind of fill that gap, to put competitive events at the local level in local game stores with prizes that really matter, but that aren't on the official tournament circuit on the road to the World Championship. Now, we don't exactly know what these events entail yet, but they'll be called set championships, and Ravensburger's indicated that they'll take place at local game stores. The prizes are super cool. Ravensburger's gone back and had Nicholas Cole do an enchanted treatment for one of the most popular cards in the first chapter, and that is Stitch Rockstar. Now, it sounds like this card will be given out to the top 4 players in a set championship. But wait, there's more. This art was also made into an official playmat, of which it sounds like there'll be 2. So if you're in the top 4 players in this first set championship, you'll get this Stitch Rockstar, and if you're in the top 2, you'll get this playmat. And those prizes promise to be super exclusive. I mean, everybody's going to want these cards. So if distribution is the way it sounds and each game store gets 4 of one and 2 of the other, and imagine there's 10, 20, 30 people per game store wanting these cards and more, these cards may be very expensive. And so these prizes really do matter. And so it seems what Ravensburger's trying to do is provide some sort of official competitive event at the LGS level with prizes that really matter, and these tournaments will be everywhere at all local game stores all around North America. So if you're a competitive player and you can't make it to a regional event, you can probably make it to a set championship and compete for one of these really cool Stitch cards. So at the end of the day, Ravensburger's trying to work with various partners in order to ensure that there's a venue for casual players and competitive players. On one end of the spectrum, they're encouraging stores to do league play and other events to get casual players in the door. And on the other end of the spectrum, they're offering a world championship in 2025, which people will be able to compete for. So whether you're competitive or you're casual, there should be an event for you. So what do you think about today's announcements? Are you excited to compete for a Stitch card? Let us know in the comments below and let us know what other Lorcana content you'd like to see. Until next time, sign off catchphrase.